promise me I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take the noose off. And you cannot save me, cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts.
Welcome back to Flamespyro Art and the study group of Mr. Bear. Now, I just had a very brief look at Mr. Bear yesterday. I'm going to put a piece of paper under my hand so I don't lose my transfer lines. And I started yesterday with just having a very little look at his eyes. The eyes are very small on this bear, but we still want to try and make them as cool as we can, you know, make them as realistic looking as possible. So I'm using my extra small space shader, as these eyes are very small for such a big bear. But when it's such an intricate little job like this, you need your smaller pens. Let me just pull up the reference picture of Mr. Bear, the grizzly fisherman. Okay. And you can zoom your image in so you can see more detail of the eyes. The eyes are quite an important bit to try and make look as good as we possibly can. I'm hoping to try and keep you on camera as I just work very gently, finding my feet with this piece. Whenever it's a new project like this, I always like to, for me personally, spend the first day or two just feeling out what lies ahead. You know, I don't like to rush at the art and just dive in. I like to try and keep looking back into at the reference photo, picking out detail that I can find. There isn't the greatest amount of detail with the bear's eyes, I must admit, on the reference, but there is some. So it's not going to be a really exciting start to the video, this, I'm afraid. I usually like to have lots and lots of detail to work from, but when you zoom in this piece, the detail just isn't there. So we're going to have to make a bit up from our imagination. And this left eye, he seems to have a glossy, lighter part to his eye here, and then it goes off really dark in this area, which is a bit strange. And the other eye has a dark band round it, as you would normally expect an eye to be. So I don't know what's going on with this eye at all. But we will leave it lighter for now. And just see what comes to us as the piece progresses. You will find that a lot of the times I just dot and dab away as I start trying to build my jigsaw of the bear. Usually we always start with the eyes. But in this situation, I don't feel like we're going to get a lot of benefit from starting here, but I've started here now, so let's just see where it takes us. Now, when we're wanting to create realism art, we don't want to crank the heat up on our burners too high. We want to start off very gentle until we get confidence with what we're doing. And once the confidence kicks in, all of a sudden you'll be flying. And you'll get a real feel for what you're doing, and you know, you can go your own way a little bit and start ad-libbing, as I like to call it, with the piece. You know, images are there just for reference, really. You know, we don't have to stick rigidly to the reference. We can do as we please, really, with it, whatever way we want to show it. You know, we will all have a different looking piece come the end of this study group. I'm quite confident of that. No two pieces will look the same. We'll all have our own imagination. I think once we get actually into the fur of the bear, it looks like there's a lot of just shading in between the brown fur, so it should be, hopefully, not the worst thing in the world. And there's some great opportunities for depth in there. As I say, just to start with, I'm just feeling out the bear's face a little. And when you look back into your reference photo, you'll start to build like a mental image in your own mind. I've got a hair and pen there. A mental image of how you want to display the bear. And I look at them all like a massive jigsaw puzzle. You know, it's a puzzle that needs to be solved and all the pieces put together. Into the best bet really for the start of this tutorial session would be for me to time lapse this very early stage, because you're not going to see a great deal from me really. I'm just going to be very gently dabbing away, not committing myself to anything at this stage. I don't want to overcommit to any dark tones or shades or anything. You know, I'm just looking at finding the features. There are some key important areas, like down the muzzle. We want to make this muzzle of the bear with his nose really stand forward. But I always like to try and start on the eyes and then gradually build out on the fur. He's such a massive animal and his eyes are so small. This is just some dark shading around the eye. It will go a lot darker, but like I said, until I get confident, my wood burning will be staying very light. This was a piece picked by my good friend Tanya. Tanya, it's your fault that we're gonna spend at least a week, possibly more, for myself on this piece. But it should be good fun. It should be a really cool piece if we can capture that realism with him. I'm calling it a him, it could be a her. Now I added transfer lines here down the sides of the like muzzle, we're going to call it, his nose, because I wanted to find those break points where the sides of the muzzle finish and the cheeks start. So that's quite a crucial part of the wood burn. So anyway, welcome to the study group. I am going to switch you over to some time lapsing while I find my feet, because you're quickly going to get bored of sitting watching me just dot and dab. And that's all I'm going to do until his face starts appearing at me in 3 dimensions. And sometimes it takes me a bit of time before I see him 3-dimensionally. So I will switch you over now to time lapse, so you can just see my struggles and see where I get to, and if it gives you any pointers along the way, or you have any questions about what I've been doing, then you can fire them up at me. I'm going to post quite a few of the lives onto YouTube, onto the channel. There'll be some TikTok live sessions, which I will try and keep to an hour long at most, as I know it's hard to have an attention span, even for half an hour. Even you do well to sit through half an hour. But all these lines I added early are all going to help me, hopefully. In what's that shop called? We have a shop in England. I don't know if you have it out in the States, but we have a shop in England called Build-A-Bear. And this is definitely Build-A-Bear. Definitely not a piece for the non-lovers of pyrography. I'm sure my good friend Sally will smash it out and show you an amazing piece if she gets time, much faster than I do. I'm a bit of a obsessive perfectionist. And time doesn't really factor for me, you know. I'm not asked if it takes 2, 3, 4 weeks. Immaterial to me. The final product is the all-important part, and you know what we come up with at the end. It's no good doing it in a week and it being trash. I'd rather spend a month and make it something really cool. So that's my take anyway on pyrography art. But when you've done your transfer, put a piece of paper under your hand so you don't lose all those transfer lines. I mean, I'm just jumping about everywhere at the minute, just desperately seeking to see the image. and I would be like this for some time. The nose you just can't see. Much of his nostrils, I might have to try and put it in different shades, the picture, and see if it'll show me those really dark spots, just so I can see where the nose holes are. Because on our reference picture, we can't see them really, can we? It was from jumping about, trying to find somewhere that I can make a start. Is always the hardest bit. I said it's all just one giant jigsaw puzzle. We have to try and unlock the mysteries of it. See, down the side of the nose here, it breaks off to fur. Down at the sides of his mouth as he grips the fish. So there's a break point already. Nose, drop off to fur down the sides of his mouth as he's, I don't know what it'd be like round his lips sort of area. His top lip is sticking out as he's got the fish body in it. And use yourself like reference points, like you can see on the fish. Around the head is where this drop off ends, on that part of the fur. So we'll try and use like markers as reference points. You know, different parts of it will show you different things. His head, obviously we want his head sitting forward. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. In the study group, one last thing before I hit you over to time lapse. We don't pick easy images, as you can tell by this one. If you want to do a highly detailed artwork, then this is what we're all about, is trying to create something really cool and three-dimensional. That's a secret. That's the goal. That's my ultimate goal anyway, is to create three-dimensional art. I'm not looking at just creating anything. I want it to look real. So with that said, I'm going to hit you over to some time lapse and just let me get a feel for the bear before I start giving some proper in-depth lessons and a few tips and pointers. Okay, so take care, let the image like sort of embed itself into your creative eye before you go off on high heats and, you know, burning it quickly. Try and let the image really absorb into your mind. Okay, so I shall see you all and speak to you at the end of the time lapse, just where I make a start, and then we can talk some more as we progress through the fur of this beast of a bear. Okay, take care everybody, and I shall speak to you all very soon. Bye for now.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely.